this interview is regarding Decameron Caribbean Club in Runaway Bay, Jamaica. I paid for a wedding package that half of the services I did not receive. It was poor communication, poor execution of the wedding plans, and just undermining of the patrons that are, coming to the hotel. I felt that is fraud what they did, selling a package that half of the things in the package was not delivered. On September 5th of 2022, I contacted them to do a wedding there. I would do the wedding because it's right there on the beach. I looked on the reviews online. It was pretty decent. So I booked with them for a wedding package and also for myself and my guests to stay at the hotel. So on the 12th of September, I did get a response from the hotel, I guess the manager who deals with reservation. His name is Mr. Hall. And, he presented the package to me, the different packages. So one of the packages was, I think, called a BLISS. And what I didn't realize that wasn't necessarily a wedding package. It was for renewal. So I responded back to him, and this is going back and forth through email, responded back to him and said, hey, it's not a renewal, it's an actual wedding. So he sent me the package that I asked for. And the package actually include several things. It include couples massage. It include cake, wine, the whole package. So I have the whole packet. Okay. So at the time that I took the packet, I think ended up being with 20 people. It ended up being almost $2,000. So I said, okay, I wired the money to them. Everything was fine. I did ask them about hair and makeup. They told me that I could arrange it when I get to the hotel. Okay. At no time did they say that I had to spend an extra $200 for the person who is doing hair and makeup to actually enter the premise. They never said, okay. So a photographer, the photographer that they contract with wanted $1,000 for a basic package. His photos wasn't all that great. So I declined to go with him and I went with a family friend. Didn't know I had to pay the $200 for him to actually come and take pictures on top of what we paid him. So, yeah. So I paid the package. Once I paid the package, I didn't hear back from the vendor until closer to the time frame. The date that I wanted, they didn't have it. So I settled with a third. After I settled with a third, everything was fine. And the lady who was initially doing the wedding, the wedding host, I guess, or person who plans, they stated that she was dealing with it and she was giving us information, and then the communication stopped. And then she I send her everything she asked for. Then another person came and was like, okay, well, this person, Judith, won't be your coordinator anymore. I'm going to be your coordinator. And this is a few weeks before the wedding. Okay, fine. Then few days, I think on November 25th, the wedding is supposed to be the 23rd. I received an email saying, hey, we need your birth certificate, ID, all of these documents. The documents you sent before, it was in a video form, so we can't have it. We can't use it. We have to be able to print it out. Now, and then they send a saying that the pastor needs 7 days to send off some documents. Now, this is on the 25th, you're writing me. The wedding is on the 3rd. That's, that's not enough time. So I sent them everything. Then she emailed me back on the 26th, which I guess it went into my spam. And it says, oh, by the way, we can't use this document. It has to be, the thing we was waiting for was my husband's divorce decree. They were saying, oh, it has to be certified. So I said, okay, I thought I sent you the certified one. It wasn't okay. But I said, this still is not enough time if you need 7 days and you're email me on the 25th and then respond back to me on the 26th, which is a Saturday. So there's nothing. And the email, and I have all the emails, is saying, oh, I needed, so that means you won't have a pastor because we don't have enough time to send forward whatever documents. So you won't have a pastor. So I was like, well, there was like, well, you could change the wedding date. At this time, majority of the guests was already there at the hotel, staying at the hotel. Now, as I said, it's about 22 guests. And majority of them, like probably 20 of them, are staying at the hotel. So you not only got my money, but my guest money and, my family money. So I said, that's unacceptable. I can't just change it, the wedding date at the whim, because people already purchased their ticket. Some of them are down there already. I can't do that. So can we just have the ceremony? My pastor will just have to wed us as a ceremonial wedding instead of a legal wedding, because, everything is already done. They agreed to that. When I went down there, we end up having to go to a different pastor and got it done the day of the wedding. The morning of the wedding, went to a different parish, paid almost $200 to get the official wedding done, and then come back and do the ceremony there. Okay, so the first day we were there, on the website, I'm not sure if you visit the website, but the website make it seems like all the houses are these little huts. And it doesn't say differently. It just says garden or like garden view or like beach view. But I'm thinking all of us were staying in these individual huts. Not the case. So when I got there, it was just a regular, that part of the hotel they put us in is like regular upstairs, downstairs rooms. And I'm like, okay, this is not what I paid for. This is going to be part of, me getting married. So I upgraded to that room, and then the other 2 rooms I had purchased, I just let them stay in that room. So the website is a little misleading when you look at it. All the hotel space they show is those little huts, and it really isn't that. Okay, so we ended up the first day I changed my pastor. It was my pastor and her 90-year-old mother had to be, when they went in their room, there was no curtains in the room, no blinds, and there's a stairs right there. So, we had to come back and say, hey, now they already went in and packed their stuff up. As I said, a 90-year-old woman. So, I made the suggestion, since she is actually, use a walker and the room where we were is low. Could she just move in our room since we're moving out? So that happened. Then my aunt, her water faucet bust. So it wasn't working. They got somebody to fix that. They had to move her room as well because I think it was mold or something. My other guests, their room, the water, the shower was like dripping slowly. It took them hours. So all of these complaints are going on. This is the first night we walk in. Okay. So the next day, the other issue was now we're being told. Now, when I did the package, I said, I'm going to have 4 guests that not staying at the hotel. So they was like, well, they'll need a day pass. Okay, fine. So I paid for the day pass. The day pass was $80 a piece. So we paid for the day pass within the packet. When we paid for the day pass, when we got to the hotel where, the wedding is at 4, they set it the time for 4 o'clock. Okay. So when I go, they were like, well, the day pass is only from 10 to 5. So I'm like, well, why don't you just go ahead, and they're not coming at 10 o'clock in the morning. They'll probably come about 3 to be at the wedding early enough. And then you could use that same time and have them stay until the wedding is finished, which was like 9 or 10 o'clock. They said no. I would have to pay for an extended day pass for each person. So I'm like, well, no one said this. When I paid for the package, no one said this. They knew the wedding was going to be 4 o'clock. Why didn't they say it then? So we end up paying. Then they said, oh, by the way, since you're having a photographer come on our thing, you have to also pay $200 for him to come and take pictures. So in total, we paid $300, I think is $65, right? Right there that day. Okay. The day before the wedding, we go and the wedding person came in. She let us look at some of the venues. These are where we could hold that. I said, okay. Now where they are, it was on the water, but is a gazebo on some of them, but the water was so rough that day, my wedding dress would have gotten wet. So I was like, well, can we have it down here? It's like behind a burger, and it's like a burger and hot dogs restaurant, because they have several restaurants, and nobody really uses that restaurant. And it was the back of the restaurant would view the ocean. So I said, could we have it there? She said she agreed. Okay, so let me back up. Before that time, with the incident with me having to pay extra money for the guest that's not on and the photographer, we asked to speak to the manager. They told us the manager would be there. Manager never came out. He was like, he'll be there in about 15 minutes. He was on the compound, never came out. His name is Alfred Mitchell. Never came out. So we waited for hours. He never came out. We kept asking to speak to like somebody in authority. Nothing. Oh, he'll be when he said that whenever he's ready, he'll come and get you. Never. Okay. So now back to the day before the wedding, we selected the venue. She showed us everything. Okay, fine. So as I said, I had to go to a different parish to go get married and come back. So I had to wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, go actually get legally married and come back to the wedding. When I came back for the wedding, 2 hours before the wedding, the coordinator came to us and said, the general manager, Alfred Mitchell, said, oh no, you cannot have the wedding in the back of the restaurant because he's not going to stop his patrons from getting services. As if I'm not a patriot, but okay, nevertheless. But this is 2 hours before now we already rehearsed for the other place. 2 hours before the wedding, this is what they said. It was just, it was this is my first marriage, first wedding. It was not what I expected. I was very disappointed. I was disappointed not only in the service, but in the fact that we had no managers to come and even speak to us about the situation or try to de-escalate it or anything. He was just very, and then he kept saying, "This, tell them this is what I decree," as if he's like a king. So I was really disappointed. The food at the resort, it was 2 days. It's pretty decent. The other days it was horrible. Even my cake, my wedding cake, I paid for an extra tier. Horrible. It looks nice, but it didn't taste all that great. It was just poor. And then on top of that, me and 3 other guests end up getting COVID. So that was my wedding experience. I reached out to them because I was trying to give them an opportunity to rectify it. And I didn't hear from them. I emailed them about 3 weeks ago, didn't hear from them until last week. Last week, I received an email from them, and I can share the email. The email basically said that they're sorry for all the things, and it was basically anything that was a mishap, they corrected right away, and that first I asked them how much would it have cost. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back. In the package, it include couples massage. Never got that. They told me because of COVID. So you sell me a package that I could not use, knowing that I couldn't use it because you already knew it was COVID. Okay. I asked them how much for the fee for the minister. They still can't tell me. They have not responded. Only thing he did was say, we could give you $160 to compensation. Now I spent over almost $5,000 with you, not to mention my guests. And you could only compensate me $160. So needless to say, this experience has been one of the worst experiences I ever had with a hotel. I had the choice of going with another hotel that's closer, and I should have probably took that hotel. All my guests was unhappy. Now, not only did they lose my business, Decameron, but they also lost 20-something hotel guest business because they saw how I was treated and how they were treated, and they will never use another Decameron because of their unresponsiveness. So I would really suggest anyone who is going to Decameron Hotel, doing a wedding, any kind of wedding, please read the fine prints. Make sure you ask all the questions you can regarding those small things like, if you're going to have this in the package, you selling me a package and half of the stuff that's in the package I'm not getting, that's fraud. That's actually fraud. And you could, I personally will be seeking legal help to get this resolved because I did give them the opportunity. But just make sure you read the fine prints, making sure you ask all the questions. I have emails upon emails upon emails. And I think that's good that it's in email form, because then you have a record of what was said and what was asked. But also it loses translation because half of the time we have to re-ask the questions over and over again because when you read an email, either you miss that question or, so that's my suggestion. This experience has been the worst experience. What was supposed to be a happy day turned out to be a horrible day. I was crying almost all day of that day, which again is supposed to be a happy occasion. And I was just so stressed and angry, and there's no one that would resolve it. And I think that's where my anger came from, that the general manager didn't even try to help. I'm looking for, number one, an apology. I want an apology, not only from the corporate office, but from the general manager himself, Alfred Mitchell, of the Decameron Caribbean Club. That's first and foremost. The second is, I want a detailed explanation of what services I paid for and did not get. To just throw $160 at me when I paid $5,000, that's unacceptable. You can't. I asked you how much was the fee for the pastor's fee, how much the fee for the spa, how much it would for you to not include the spa that you sold me that you knew was not available, and they have yet to actually detail the cost of these things. So I'm very disappointed in, and at this point, I am hurt, and it's no longer about, for me, it's no longer about me. It's about how many people have you guys defrauded with the same package, doing the same thing, and no one had the courage to come out and say, this is wrong. How many people? And then to have, and again, to have people who are in charge who really don't care about the customer, when the customer was the one that bought all this revenue to you. That's despicable. So that's where I am.